Well, there's so many records on Blue Note, all the way from the beginning of when they started the record company, the great Alfred Lion and Francis Wolff in 1939. Remember, that was the beginning of the Second World War, so they were dealing with a whole other kind of world objectives that was going on. But from the beginnings of the records, with the Albert Adams and Me Luck Lewis, those are some great records. The great prolific recordings by Sidney Bechet, Summertime. My own personal favorite's got to be the chance that they took upon themselves to deal and present Monk's music, the two Genius albums they did. Those are like two of my favorite albums. Then also, I mean, there's so many. All the Hank Mobley albums, Fad Jones, the Art Blakey Jazz Messengers albums, the difference of changes that you hear in the music, the chances that they took in a lot of the musicians that were unknown, people like Herbie Nichols, people like that, there's one called, some people you never hear about again. What's his name now? His name is Gil Melly, I think his name is. Just all kinds of different artists that they have. I mean, you pick up some of those recordings, you really get to hear a documentation of what not only is going on in their world, but also in the future. What's happening? Like the record, another one's my favorite was the ones they did with Miles Davis, Volume 1, Volume 2, with Oscar Pettiford and Horace Silver and Jimmy Heath and J.J. Johnson. They do Ray's Idea. Miles does Lazy Susan, all those different incredible. Because also that's a time when Miles was just getting back to he was dealing with a lot of personal things, and he was dealing with the music in such a different way. So you get to really hear the transformation of their existence, the existence that they've dealt with before, and also what's coming ahead. That's the power of jazz music. And that's also the power of what Alfred Lion and Francis Wolff were dealing with. They were trying to present music that the world wasn't really ready for. But they decided to take it upon themselves to give it to the world, whether the world liked it or not. And they took a whole pile of chances. Because the music at that time, it was such a to and fro. It's always that tension and release. And you feel it, especially in those early years. Monk's music, Miles's music, Horace Silver's music. You hear there's a freedom, but there also is there's something they're dealing with. So anytime you deal with those records, Kenny Dorham, because they all have personal lives they're dealing with. Kenny Dorham's a cat that he still is like an unsung hero, even though he's one of the greatest trumpet players of our music. And you hear those records from the early 50s, Art Blakey. It's just amazing what they were dealing with and how they were able to be so serious with it too. Because they were dealing with whatever was going on in the world. So the Blue Note record label is almost like a template of every man's story and how they developed that and how they were able to put that on record. Whether the world said it could be right or it could be wrong. So it's such a spiritual thing. It's a mental thing because you listen to those records and they challenge your mind so much. It's a physical thing because a lot of that music is booty shaking music. So you want to dance to a lot of it. But it's also spiritual music because all the music touches your soul. It could be Donald Byrd playing a ballad with Sonny Rollins. It could be Dexter Gordon. It could be how Sonny Clark and Billy Higgins play together. It could be the bass lines of Paul Chambers and how Art Taylor hooks up with it. Like there's a spiritual connection in all those records. That's what's deep about it. And also because Alfred Lion and Francis Wolff believed so much in the music. They believed in giving musicians a chance. They also were loved by all the musicians. It wasn't like, like some, in the history of the music, the musician is always fighting a record label. Even to this day. all the stories you hear about Savoy Records and Dial and musicians not really getting what they deserve. All the musicians loved Alfred Lion and Francis Wolff. Miles, Dizzy, Monk, they all loved and respected them. And they also understood the importance of rehearsing. They would take money out the budget and give cats the time to rehearse the music. So you just weren't hearing like a jam session. So there was a presentation that was important. That's why the music's so great, because the presentation was always there. You realize that when you hear those alternate takes. And also you can just, when you listen to those records, it makes you believe something. That anything is possible. Because they give you that pictorial view, a spiritual pictorial view that is possible. So the Blue Note Records it's gonna be there forever, because it takes you into a world of belief.